Hi, James Streaky here with Wealth Watch Advisors, and today I want to talk about protecting your retirement paycheck and looking at practical strategies to having a reliable income in retirement. So when we're working with clients, they view this, it's really such a paradox to them because they're transitioning from working and saving to being retired and actually living off of their assets that they have saved and spending them. And so, we get the feedback of, it just doesn't feel right. They're not comfortable with it. And that's where we want to come in and provide them the confidence that they're able to retire comfortably, have the income that they desire, not skimp out on the lifestyle that they want to live. I've seen so many people where they're saying, "Oh, we could make it on 6,000 a month, 5,000 a month," but in reality, they're desiring to live a lifestyle at 8, 9, 10,000 a month, and they more than have enough assets to do so, provided that it's managed and invested properly. And so that's where we come in and we want to show them what are some unique strategies that other individuals are taking advantage of that have allowed them to retire comfortably and with confidence. And we'd love to share those with you. But the first thing we need to do is look at what are the main risks that come from retirement. So there are some critical risk and key risk out there. First off is longevity risk, and this amplifies all other risk in retirement. But longevity risk is you being alive for a long period of time, and that inevitably increases the likelihood you're going to have health issues. It increases the likelihood that there's market volatility, which impacts your returns, which obviously can have a decrease on your portfolio. It increases the effect that inflation is having. If you look at historical inflation numbers around 2 to 3% a year, things tend to double in price roughly every 20 to 25 years. So the $5,000 you were spending at age 65, all of a sudden, it's on average going to cost close to $10,000 to do those exact same things when you're 90. Now, you might not be doing the exact same things, but the thing that will have an impact on, and we've actually seen much higher rates of inflation in the healthcare space. And so you might be in pretty good health and good shape when you're in your 60s. Age catches up to everybody at some point. So we get to somebody in their 90s where healthcare costs and long-term care costs today are ranging $6,000 to $10,000, depending on the facility, depending on in-home care, depending on do you need advanced care like memory care, things like that. Those could easily be in the $15,000 to $20,000 range 20 to 25 years from now, maybe even higher. And so you look at the top end of that, $20,000 a year for 3 years, that's an extra $720,000 being spent because you had a long-term care situation. And unfortunately, the odds are stacked against us. I think it's around 70+% of Americans end up having some form of a long-term care situation at some point in their life. And a lot of that is because people are living a long time that inevitably these things happen later on in life. And so all of these things can add up and have a big impact on your portfolio. So we want to go through risk by risk, piece by piece, and have a plan for mitigation or reduction of or avoidance of all these risks that we're going to face in retirement and as you enter into a new stage of life. But the biggest thing that clients always come and ask us is about income and generating income so that they're able to live the lifestyle that they want. And so the first step for that is really building an income floor. And this provides us the highest level of safety in retirement. And I always like to ask people, who do you think has less stress in retirement? People with or without pensions? People with pensions always tend to have less stress. Why is that? All their income's guaranteed. So they're able to live their lifestyle and they don't have to worry about if the market's up 2% for the day or it's plummeting because of something going on in the world or the market's crashing or earnings aren't coming in as expected, right? They get to live a comfortable lifestyle and they have a floor on their income through Social Security, pensions, other such things like that. And so we'd love to show you some strategies that you would be able to implement where if your workplace didn't offer a pension, you might be able to actually set up and structure your own effectively personal pension program to provide you that same level of confidence and comfort. But these are really critical things that we want to take a look at, providing a floor for your needed income that covers, fixed costs, housing, utilities, groceries, things like that. And ideally, your discretionary spending could be covered by this as well. Social Security is a great starting place, and for a lot of people, it can be one of the biggest financial decisions they're going to make that a lot of people actually don't put too much time and thought into. And the reason I say that is the most common claiming age is age 62, the soonest you can get it. And if you look at a lot of the numbers, that more often than not is not always the best, most optimal choice for clients. But we like to go ahead and assess claiming age for you and your spouse, along with your assets and other things that you have going on that are providing income, so that we can help you make the most informed decision and help you make the decision that puts you in the best position possible for the long term. And so we like to look at this not only from an income perspective, but also when we're looking at Roth conversions and other things like that. How are we going to generate the income we need, and how are we going to ensure that this lasts us an indefinite time frame, right? We don't know how long we're given to live, and so that makes retirement planning a little more challenging, but it's something that we work with clients with every single day. So another strategy we can take a look at that a lot of clients find mentally very appealing is bucketing. So basically segmenting assets for specific timelines and for specific purposes. We can set aside, let's say, 30 to 40% of someone's assets strictly to generate their monthly income, and we might set aside another 40% for long-term growth, and we might set aside another 10, 15, 20% for a safety net, a security blanket that's used to backstop that income bucket that we had established. We can also segment by time, where if I need income in 15 or 20 years, I have no problem investing that money in stocks, because I know over time his stocks have historically done quite well over those time frames. Versus if I need income in 6 months or a year from now, or I have a major expense coming up, stocks are likely the last place I'm going to look, because my time horizon is so short and the variability of returns is so great with something like stocks, as opposed to literally just parking things in a money market for the very short term. And so these are the types of bucketing strategies that we work through with clients, so that they're able to have a better concept of when we're accessing money, what we're accessing it for, and what the plan is to use it for. So what's a safe withdrawal rate? This is another big question we get. How much money can I spend? How much money can I generate in terms of income? Sort of the industry standard is that 3.5% to 4% range, meaning on $1 million you're getting $35,000 to $40,000 a year, give or take $3,000 a month. Now you're a millionaire, right? You saved $1 million, and all you can get is $3,000 a month. I understand people wanting to pull out more, and we've helped clients put together very unique strategies that have allowed them to actually generate more income. So we'd love to share more about those unique strategies with you, to see if they're a good fit and to see if you even qualify to execute on them. But there's, that's kind of been the traditional strategy, and we think that there is potentially a better option out there, and we'd love to share that with you. And then looking at layering these incomes, so putting in the floor with your base guarantees, Social Security, looking at pensions, other self-funded strategies that give guaranteed income, and then moving into dividends or other things that are very stable but not contractually guaranteed. And then eventually, if we have to, get to the principal spend down. Ideally, we don't have to get there. Most clients don't want to, but it is what you save the money for. So if we have to, we are able to implement that into the overall plan. And now a big question we get all the time, and it's mostly because these are somewhat of a convoluted product, is, are annuities right for retirees? I can go on Google right now and I can find you a million articles that talk about how nobody should ever buy an annuity and they're the worst thing in the world. I can find you a million more that talk about how every retiree needs to buy an annuity today. And the truth is, it lies somewhere in between, right? Are annuities good for you? It depends. Most of the time, what we find when people have a bad experience with an annuity, it is because they are given the wrong product trying to solve the wrong solution. And it's often a mismatch of the product and what it's supposed to do going against what the client actually needs. And so that is often where we see the big disconnect. And so we love to sit down, look at annuity strategies with clients, see if they're a good fit, see if clients even like them, and then show them the best potential options based on what they're trying to accomplish. And then there's plenty of clients that an annuity is not a right fit for them for whatever reason, and there's plenty of other strategies to explore above and beyond that for income strategies and needs as well. But the pros and cons. Pros, you can get a lot of guarantees out of these products. There's also some with effectively no guarantees. They can be great from a tax perspective, being tax advantaged now. And then the cons, they can have a lot of high fees in certain products. Ideally, we'd avoid those. Limited liquidity a lot of the times. And again, with the proper planning, even that as its worst feature most of the time, not even going to be a big impact on a lot of clients if used appropriately. And then analyzing how we are withdrawing funds. If we are taking distributions out tax inefficiently, that's going to be detrimental to the overall plan. So ideally, we want to avoid making the simple mistakes, and we want to strategically plan out taking distributions from your accounts in a way that suits you quite well from a tax perspective, but then also taking into consideration going above and beyond just retirement and income strategies. We want to take a look at what are things you can do to help out the next generation, and that's a thing that a lot of clients are thinking of. So if that's a big deal for you, thinking about estate and legacy, go ahead and watch our other videos where we talk about our unique planning process and how we help clients from that perspective as well. But for those still here, looking at different ways to withdraw from your accounts tax efficiently, maybe Roth conversions and other situations like that. So generating and developing a retirement income plan is a specialty. It's what we focus on predominantly with our clients. And so we'd love to have a time to sit down, learn about you, your situation, what matters most to you, and then show you some strategies that you could implement to help you have a successful retirement. So go ahead and click the link down below to schedule a time to talk with us today, and check out the other videos on this portal as well. Thanks, and look forward to seeing you soon.